Okay, let us consider the 2D shapes and the 3D shapes. The 2D shapes and the 3D shapes. But I'm going to start with the 2D shapes. The 2D shape, the D there stands for dimensional. 2D shapes are two-dimensional shapes. They are two-dimensional shapes, and two-dimensional shapes are plane shapes. They are plane shapes. While the 3D shapes are three-dimensional shapes. These are solid shapes. But we are concerned with the two-dimensional shapes. Two-dimensional shapes are shapes that have length and breadth. They don't have thickness. They are defined by the length and breadth alone, or width. The length and breadth alone, or width. So the 2D shapes are shapes that are not solid shapes. They are shapes that we can easily cut out from the cardboard. Example of 2D shapes are the polygons that we just considered, and also the plane shapes, including a circle. A circle is also a two-dimensional shape. So, triangles, rectangles, trapeziums, those shapes that we can cut out from cardboard easily are called the two-dimensional shapes. For instance, this is a paper. I want to cut out a shape from here. You should be careful if you're doing a cutting to demonstrate this. You should be careful. This is a rectangular shape. This is a rectangular shape. I can as well make a square from here by simply folding it perfectly. Quickly, look at this. I want to see if I can get square out from here. First, if I cut this shape from here, in this form, this is a triangle. This is a triangular shape. This is a triangle. The first one I produced was a square. Sorry, a rectangle. This is a rectangular shape. Now I've been able to get out a square from it. This is a square that has equal side. All the sides are the same edges. 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is a quadrilateral. Look at the rectangle also has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a rectangle. It also has 4 sides. But for triangle, look at triangle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A triangle has 3 sides, as we discussed in the previous class. 1, 2, 3. A square has 4 sides, so it is one of the quadrilaterals that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4. A rectangle also has 4 sides. One of the quadrilaterals also. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can as well make a trapezium from here. A trapezium looks like a car, so I'll just cut this way. This is a trapezium. This is a trapezium. It also has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A trapezium. So now you can see that these are two-dimensional shapes because we can cut them out from the cardboard using our scissors. I can get my square from the cardboard using scissors. I can get this shape on a flat surface. This is a flat surface. Remember, we talked about planes in one of the classes, and I said planes are simply flat surfaces. And I used the board as an example. I use the field that we play football and other sporting events as also an example. So they are plane surfaces. So you can see we can get out this a plane shape, which is a two-dimensional shape, from this plane surface or this flat surface. I cannot get your box or get your mommy's pot that you use in cooking food for you to eat. I cannot just get a plain paper in this form and just cut out your mother's pot, and you will see the pot clearly with the hollow part of the pot that she used to put food inside to cook. It's not possible. I cannot get out your shoes from this plane as easy as I've done with this. I cannot just take a pencil and draw your shoe and cut out your shoe and tell you wear your shoes to school. You won't do that. So that is why we said that two-dimensional shapes that are plane shapes are shapes that we can get or we can draw on a plane. So they are called the two-dimensional shapes. They are the two-dimensional shapes. So now you know that two-dimensional shapes are shapes that we can draw or cut them out from plane surfaces or cardboard using our scissors or the blade. Now we have types of two-dimensional shapes. We have types of two-dimensional shapes. We have the regular two-dimensional shapes and the irregular two-dimensional shapes. We have the regular dimensional shapes and the irregular. We have the regular 2D shapes and we have the irregular 2D shapes. These are the types of two-dimensional shapes that we have. We have the regular 2D shapes and the irregular 2D shapes. Now, the regular two-dimensional shapes has all equal sides. Regular two-dimensional shapes has all the edges equal, and all interior angles are also equal. The regular two-dimensional shapes are shapes that have all the edges equal. For example, if you look at the rectangle that we got in our cutting, we were able to get a rectangular shape when we did the proper cutting. Let me reduce it a little bit. This is a rectangular shape that you can see. You understand that this side is only equal to this side, but not equal to this side. This is the length, this is the length, this is the breadth or the width, the width, the width, the length, the length. It is because they are not in the same dimension. That is why they have different names. So because this part is a long part, it is called the length. Then this other part is called the width or the breadth. Now you see that they don't have the same length, the same dimensions. So this type of shape is not a regular two-dimensional shape. A rectangle is not a regular two-dimensional shape because all the sides are not equal. So take note of that. Then a square is a regular two-dimensional shape. A square is a regular two-dimensional shape because all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. So now you know that a regular shape or a regular two-dimensional shape has all the sides equal, and because all the sides are equal, then the angles inside will also be equal. For example, an equilateral triangle that has all the sides equal, a scalene triangle, an isosceles triangle, scalene triangle, isosceles triangle, those type of triangles are not regular two-dimensional shapes because all the sides of those triangles are not equal. We will come to that soon in our next classes. But an equilateral triangle that has all the sides equal, an equilateral triangle has all the sides equal. Such a triangle is a regular two-dimensional shape. So I have mentioned to you a square and also an equilateral triangle. A pentagon, which is a shape that has the 5 sides. A pentagon can also be a regular two-dimensional shape if all the 5 sides are equal. Hexagon can also be a regular two-dimensional shape if all the sides are equal. Octagon can also be a regular two-dimensional shape if all the sides are equal. Likewise, a pentagon can also be an irregular two-dimensional shape. An irregular two-dimensional shape if all the sides are not equal. Octagon can also be an irregular two-dimensional shape if the sides are not all equal. So you should understand that the 2 types of two-dimensional shapes that we have are regular two-dimensional shapes and irregular two-dimensional shapes. Now, the regular two-dimensional shapes are the types that have all the sides equal, all the edges are equal. If one of the edge is 5 centimeter, the other 4 will also be 5 centimeter each, assuming we are dealing with pentagon. If it is a triangle, if one side is 7 centimeter, the other 2 sides will also be 7 centimeter each, since we are dealing with regular shapes, regular two-dimensional shapes. But once one particular part differs from the other part, then it becomes irregular two-dimensional shapes. Please do not forget, I said a regular two-dimensional shape has all the sides equal. And because all the sides are equal, then the angles will also be equal. While irregular two-dimensional shapes are the type of shapes that don't have all their edges or sides equal. And I said a pentagon can become an irregular if the sides are not all equal. A quadrilateral, like rectangle, is an irregular two-dimensional shape because all the sides are not equal. Once the sides are not equal, then they are called irregular two-dimensional shapes. But if the sides are equal, then they are called regular two-dimensional shapes. I have mentioned to you some examples of two-dimensional shapes, which includes triangle, pentagon, rectangle, squares, rhombus, circle, and the rest. In our next class, we shall be dealing with the brief discussion on three-dimensional shape. Do not forget, I said two-dimensional shapes are shapes that we can get from a plane surface or a flat surface. And you noticed or witnessed how I could get my square, my trapezium, and rectangle and triangle from this paper that I brought. In our next class, we shall deal with more of the three-dimensional shapes. Don't forget to check your question box or your quiz box and do the problems you have there to deal with, and keep on replaying your video to ensure you get the best out from today's class. 2D shapes. Thank you.